Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. This is a beading update and a bit of a chatty sewing vlog. But yeah, I show you how I chose all the bits for this flower because there's so many different beads and sequins involved. And then how I actually make it. It's not finished yet, but I'm getting there.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
So I have been working on the cactus jacket and I will show you that. But yeah, it's the cactus jacket. It's green and I'm putting these tiny green sequins on it with tiny little beads. And it's going to take a million years. So we took a break and I was like, okay, I'm going to do something with big beads, something simple. I mean, it does have big sequins on it. So I got one part of it right. And because the cactus jacket it's supposed to look like a prickly pear cactus or a cactus, I was like, oh, okay, I'll do one that looks like the flower of a cactus, something really big and dramatic. Okay, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. So this is the cactus jacket. It really does feel like I've been working on this one for quite some time. And I've been showing you glimpses of it, but I think what I've done since I showed you last time is I filled in a little bit more of the back, and I think last time I'd pinned up the hem, but I've actually hand stitched it down now. And I've done enough on this cuff that I can turn it up and stitch it down. But I have to do 3 rows of the beading and sequin on the other cuff, on the other sleeve, before I can turn up that cuff as well. So I think that'll be the next bit that I do. I've also done a little bit on the back. The back is going to have a map on it. I was thinking about doing it in like a topographic, like in all different heights and everything. I do think it's a good concept, and I do think it would have worked well on the After jacket, the one on the left there. But this one here, because it's already got the haziness of having like a layer over the whole of the jacket, then I don't think it'll work out, especially because one side of the map is quite low, like it dips below sea level. So you wouldn't really understand what's going on unless it's got a clear background, because the beads I'm using are essentially the same colour as the jacket. It won't look as impressive as, say, it would have done on this one here. I mean, I like how three-dimensional it is, the way it is, but yeah, it would have been really cool to do it on that one. So that's the plan for that one. And this is the floral jacket I mentioned I still haven't finished. So yeah, I'm just going to take all those flowers off because I've put the big ones in the wrong spot, and I think I'll just put all big flowers on the back, because when I buy flowers, I'm like, I just buy ones that look good and then I'll worry about how to use them later. But these ones are really quite big. So I think I'll just, move all the big problem flowers to the back and then just use the smaller and medium ones on the front and the sleeves. And that way, because I've got small shoulders, but also quite a small head. So I look at the proportions are all wrong. So anyway, I still wanted to do a cactus flowers jacket, and I was like, well, maybe I'll make the pink and white jacket, lint and tweed, up into a jacket and put the sequin flowers on that. But I don't know, the pinks, they're sort of a mauvey pink, the sequins. And I think those brighter sequins will work better, because the tweed, I'm not sure if you can pick it up, depending how big the screen is you're watching, but it's pink and white, but it's also got these fluoro yarns at the edge of each, like the pink and white, the borders. So those fluoro sequins will go really well with it. Also, it's a really, really lightweight tweed, like so much lighter than all the other ones I have. It's really summer weight. So I was going to put some really light, big sequins on top with some really small beads that are very light. And that could be like a summer jacket for garden parties. So I can probably use these sequins on something else. So I did think of doing another bag. This is my prototype, just to test out whether I like the shape. Well, it's kind of sitting funny on the table, but it's a nice shape. And then I was going to do that, but I don't know. Sewing a handbag is so fiddly. Like, you have to do all the beading, then try and sew all the pieces together. Then I was like, actually, I've got like a dozen jackets waiting to be beaded. So I went through them and got the plainest one, because I think these big sequins really need to go on a plain jacket. So I was like, okay, the green one, that'll look beautiful. So so now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do the flowers. And I knew I wanted to use these big flower sequins, but they look plain when they're just flowers. So I was also going to fold up half of them. It uses twice as many, but I think it definitely looks at least twice as good to double up your sequins. So that's what they look like with the plain sequins, just with the pin in them. So you can see what it's going to look like when they're stuck on with a bead. And this is what they look like when they're just a folded one. And this is what it looks like when there's two sewn on with one bead. So I'm just pinning them into a folded up bit of fabric that I have that's wool. And this way we can see which ones will work without actually having to stitch them to anything. So that's why the setup is the way that it is. So I really like having two sequins. But then I was like, should I do it matchy, like blue top, blue base, pink top, pink base, or should I mix them around? And I do like the mixed ones. I think they look totally fun. But the single color ones just look a little bit more classic and chic. And I think because I was also planning to do them en masse, and I just felt if they're too coloured, like they do look fun, but it might be a little bit difficult to discern like what it is. It might just look like a blob of colour. Whereas I think if you use the two, like orange on orange, green on green, yellow on yellow, your mind is able to sort of go, oh, okay, it's a flower. Whereas the other ones, it might just look like blobs of colour. So anyway, I decided to do single colour, and so I've organised them. That's what I'm going to do. So now I have to work out what I'm going to have in the middle of each flower, because otherwise, it'll just look a bit plain. I just want to make it a little bit more fancy. So I've got a range of different smaller sequins. And so on the honeybee tweed, it had seed bead, two yellow small flowers, and then it had a black bead on top. Well, it had clear ones, not yellow ones, but I'm using the yellow ones to show you what it was. And I really liked that. So I did try having the two yellow ones inside the two big flower sequins, and it didn't really work. So then I tried a couple of different ways. So I just put the camera down and try different setups. I got out some green beads because they'll match this green jacket that I have. So that's why green. And then the yellow smaller flowers because that's what I have. And also some regular sequins in pastel colours because I thought they might match better than the yellow flower shaped ones. And so I just want to try a few different combos and see what works. So on the left is what I put in the middle of each one. So medium-sized sequins, a smallish but medium-sized green, and then a small topper anchor bead to hold the whole thing together, and sort of ignore the pearl tips of the pins holding everything together. I know it's a little confusing, but this is just the easiest way to do it. I suppose you can do it with needles instead of pins. And then the second row, I've got the yellow flower, then the green medium-sized bead, then an anchor bead, just a small anchor bead on top. And I do like it, but I think you need more height. Yeah, I really like the red and orange one. If I have any orange ones left over, I'm going to use them on something because they look really good. They do look really a lot like a cactus flower too, especially since it's on this darker green background. Anyway, so I like that one that I just did, but I think there needs to be a little bit of height between the two big flower sequin and the small yellow flower sequin. Then I went overboard and put the big green bead, well, medium-sized green bead, between the two sizes of the flower, and I don't think that worked. But on this one here, I put two big flower sequins, small bead, then yellow smaller size flower, then big bead, then topper bead. And I think this is a good combination. But again, I think the big green opaque bead looks a bit cartoonish. I mean, it's cute, but I don't know. I think I'd probably wear it more if it looks a bit more bling rather than cutesy. So then I fished around for a bead that is the same size as that bright green opaque bead or solid green, but just looks a bit more expensive and bling. So I've got a gold transparent one, or honey color transparent one. And so this is, I've just laid out, deconstructed what's in it, and then I put them all together in a stack, and I've used a beading needle so there's no confusing pearl tip pin in the way. And I do like this one better. I think it just looks a little bit more chic, but also more like an actual flower and less like a cartoon flower. So I really like that. And the green bead on the top, I know it doesn't look like it totally matches, but remember it's on a bright green jacket. So yeah. And then I was like, I really love this orange and red one. I keep going back to it. It's really cool, especially on this darker like khaki or olive wool. But anyway, I like this one. And then I was like, oh, maybe if it's what I don't like about it is like as I was making the design choices, I was like, no, that one's too cartoonish. I want it to look more real and more bling. And then as I was saying that, I was like, maybe I should just use a different jacket, one that's less cartoonish and more bling. So I went with the totally gold one. I was originally going to put like ruby looking beads and gold beads on there, but I don't know. I'm not sure. So I decided that I'm going to use these ones instead. So I'd still like that flower that I decided on, but I'm just going to swap out some of the green beads for gold ones. So it's just a little bit more bling, and instead of the round honey transparent bead, I'm using this 1970s looking one. So that's I've laid out all the bits that are included in each single flower. So there's a flat flower, a shaped flower, then a gold seed bead, then the yellow small flower sequin, then the 1970s looking one, topped with a gold seed bead on every single flower. It's so much, and it's really difficult to do, but they're light enough that it's going to work. Like, it's not going to be just too ridiculous to work. And this is them. And then I decided, this I love. So then I just tried it in all different colors, because sometimes something looks awesome in one color, but then you try it on the other color combinations and it's like, no, this looks terrible. But this is really good. I like it on all the different colors. I think the pink ones are just amazing. I love the pink ones. They're beautiful. But I like it all. I like them all. So I decided this is the one that I'm going to go with. It's ridiculously complex, but also it's adorable, and it's going to work en masse as well. Some things are nice, but only if you have one or two. Whereas this one, this is the jacket this is it as it is at the moment. I finished the front and most of the back, and I'm starting on one of the cuffs. So yeah. I'm really happy with the way that it's working. And now I'm going to show you you don't really need to see the beading process now, do you? I've kind of told you everything. But this is what it looks like at night, and I'll show you some footage of what it looks like during the day. It looks amazing at night. It looks a lot more grown up at night. The gold is really, really rich, and I love it. And the colors, they're less pastel. especially the blue. The blue is really impacted by artificial light. It looks completely different during the day. Okay, so here's a little snippet of each bit of footage. So that's the plain gold jacket, and this is me when I've done the first few rows, and I'm still not certain about it. But yeah, I put it on the mannequin and I love it. It's so completely over the top. I love it. Chanel did, when Karl Lagerfeld was still the creative director, they did one like this, but they used real flowers dipped in resin. And yeah, they looked on like en masse, and it looked quite similar to this, like amazingly similar to this. Yeah, it's just pretty amazing. Once I finish this jacket, I'll find that collection, because there are a couple of different things in it, but those real flowers in resin were pretty amazing. I don't know how they stitched them on, because it was like an actual real flower that was coated. But anyway, yeah, so I did the first 4 rows, and then I went away and did some more beading. And then I finished another 2 rows, and that was the whole of the front done. And then I started the other side. It's really difficult to do the second side, because the first side you just go free form and you just sort of do the flowers wherever you want. And then the next row has to match the first. The third row has to match the first 2. So, it's relatively easy. But on the second side, you can't if it's on the mannequin, you can't get your hands into bead. But if you lay it out on your desk, or actually I was sitting on the sofa doing this, so it made it even more difficult. But yeah, it's really difficult to get everything even. But I got there in the end. And yeah, this is me just dreading the sleeves. The sleeves are going to be so impossible, because you start at the cuff and you sort of work your way up, and then it's the top part that has to match. I suppose you could start at the top, but then you're working over everything you've already done. It's going to be impossible. Anyway, so I was quite happy with this first row, and then I was just making sure that everything matches, and that I haven't gone doubled up and done too many of the same colours on both sides, but it's looking good. So then I went away and did yet more work. So here we are. I think I've done most of the front. The tops, I've left a couple where I haven't done them. And yeah, just because it's like doing the shoulders is going to be a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, it's just, this jacket is so completely over the top and so different from anything else I've ever done. But when you do something that's ridiculously bling, as long as you just do loads of it, then it's sort of, you can't see it anymore, because there's just so much. It's like painting the Sistine Chapel, like every square inch of it is done, so it somehow seems less over the top. And yeah, so then I went away and I think I did the back. So I did a little bit more on the front, I think a little bit more on the sides and the top, and the where it meets the shoulder. And there were just a few spots that I'd left because they were too difficult, so I went back and did them. So I'm really quite happy with the front so far. And oh my gosh, it took me so long to do this back. It's like, click your fingers and it's done. So yeah, I was going to do an inverted triangle in beads, smaller gold beads on this. I might still do it, but I'll make the whole jacket first. Then I might, in between where the flowers are, I might do a little camouflage triangle in there. So yeah, and I love these flowers. They are amazing. I don't have so many of the pink ones or the yellow ones, which is why they're so sparse. And this is me showing it from the side. Kind of looks like a vest at the moment, but I am going to do the cuffs. So I started doing one cuff, and I'm glad I didn't just keep going, because there's too much gaps. Like when you're working on it, you have to sort of flatten it out and put your hand in the jacket as you're sort of going. And it's just impossible to do these flowers. I really did need the practice of doing the whole of the torso so that it'll be good enough to work on the sleeves. But yeah, there's too much because they're so round. Like with the torso of the jacket, it's round as well, but not quite so round. This is like a really tight cylinder. And so I'm going to have to push the flowers closer to each other. So when the sleeve is laid flat, they're going to look like they're too close together. But once you put your arm in the sleeve, it will go round, and it will look the same as the torso, even though the two beadings will have different distances between them, because at the moment they look different. And yeah, so I just have to sort of compensate for the roundness of the sleeve in the way that I bead it, I think. So I'll do the other cuff in a tighter configuration, and then I'll compare the two. But, you know, time is linear. There's only 24 hours in a day. So this is all I got done. But, oh my goodness, there's just so many flowers. It's amazing. And I just love it. It's so completely over the top. But as I said, once I've done the sleeves, it's going to be less obvious. It's going to be more Sistine Chapel, and it's just going to be just a wash with all these flowers. So it's not going to register that every single one was painstakingly stitched on. And yeah, so then I did the bit where I showed you. I did actually do all the flowers, but I didn't film it the first time I did it. So then I had to get all that stuff out and a reenactment. And then this is me filming this bit. They look so different at night, don't you think? It's cool. That's what I love about using different types of beads. Like transparent ones look completely different in sunshine versus artificial light. And so do these sequins. They're in daylight, they're just completely different colours. And I love it. It's like having two different jackets. Well, you know, the same unique beading. Oh, and under the arm, I didn't put the big bead in so that the sleeves won't break the flowers every time I like move my arms. So yeah, I did modify the design of each flower under the sleeve, and when I do the underside of the sleeve, I'm also going to do the same thing. But first I have to work out the spacing, so that is my next step. So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, you can buy sequins and beads from the jewellery making section of any large fabric store, or they'll just have a beading aisle, or Etsy or eBay, places like that. Or local bead stores. Oh my God, I love bead shops. They are amazing. They're like Aladdin's cave. Anyway, that's it for this video. The next one will probably be a tweed jacket, and then the one after that will probably be a summer dress. And then hopefully by then I will have finished this, and I'll just show you the finished jacket. But yes, I've got the dreaded sleeves to go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been inspired to make a ridiculously over-the-top jacket. And yeah, happy sewing and beading. It's just so pretty. I love it so much. Wish me luck on these ridiculously difficult sleeves. Ugh, they're gonna take forever. But it'll be worth it in the end.